Oh, my son, what are you up to? Where is their cover story going? Like what is happening here? Hello. Yeah, I know the chapter came out over a week ago, but this I mean, if you're caught up with One Piece and you read the chapter, you know how insanely controversial and what's the word dualistic or divisive this chapter is. I conflicting. The word is conflicting. It's a basic word anyway. And I would felt just so inherently conflicted about this chapter that I needed to brew on it. I needed to talk to friends. I needed to watch videos. I couldn't like I don't know. I just couldn't come to the camera and get my thoughts all together. So I still feel that way. I still feel like I can't really come to the camera and get my thoughts all together. But I thought I'd give it a go and try. And before we dive into the meat of the chapter, of course, let's talk very briefly. Oh, what's on my cheek? I don't know. Anyway, I wonder how many hours that's been there, and I just didn't even realize because I didn't look in a mirror. Anyway, let's talk briefly about the cover story. I really have no idea where this cover story is going with my son Yamato there. First, I thought it was going like my first initial thought was going to be it's building up to the return of Kaido and Big Mom, which I think is going to happen. I don't think they'll be like an insanely like villainous or important presence in the story anymore, but I definitely think they're still alive. I mean, given this chapter, if we don't see explicitly, even when we do see explicitly the death, sometimes the characters come back knowing Oda. So yeah, so I thought it was going to be their return that's building toward. Then I thought it was almost like going to be King and Queen starting up a little ragtag group of anti Kozuki, like trying to get that the regime down, and Yamato putting a brisk stop to it, something like that. I really don't know where it's going because it's one of like it could very well. I'm leaning more toward that still. I think that's where it's going, but I it's hard to say. I hard to say. It could be all of the above. It could be everything I just listed. So we'll see. But jumping into the content of the chapter proper, something I really quickly wanted to know, and this kind of ties in with the theming of the chapter itself, is that Bonnie is choosing to stay in her child form now. She's not shifting into an adult regularly like she was, for the whole series up till this point. She feels comfortable and safe enough with the Straw Hats to be in her child form, and I think it's inherently they show that quite a lot, and they show her spending a lot of time with Robin specifically to try to show that parallel to tie together their stories because they're very connected and analogous, like they have very similar experiences, and now it seems like similarly at the same time they're kind of both getting the payoff to all of the suffering that they've had, and I think that's absolutely beautiful, and that takes me right into the core of this chapter is that Robin is a character that means so much to me, probably my favorite fictional character of all time. um, she, in my opinion, she has the absolute best arc. She has the best character writing, best character design. She's just, I've never connected with a character as deeply as I've connected with Robin, I would say. She, like I can go on and on all day, but, and just like the amount of emotion that this chapter gave me, I read it on my lunch break in the car at work, and I literally had to shape up. I was crying in the car. And I literally had to shape up and be like, okay, gotta calm down. Gotta go back to work. It was that impactful. Um, and it was just so fucking beautiful. Just to, just to see the complete payoff of all of the immense suffering and getting even more tangible detail than they already gave us back during Eddie's Lobby when they gave us so much. Oda was giving us even more tangible detail of the sheer suffering, and the intensity of the suffering that Robin went through, and to finally have that payoff to where she, me sees Saul like her one of her first savior, a child, and someone that she lost that was so dear to her, finally be reunited with him and say I no matter how hard things got, no matter how much I wanted to die and was going to kill myself and try and hit so many dead ends and was completely alone. I hung on just because of what you told me that one day you'll find people to take care of you, and when she asked, "Aren't you proud of me for making it this far and finding this?" God, it's just. one of the best chapters in the whole series, and therein lies the dual. I'm like literally getting teared up just talking about it, but therein lies the duality of this chapter. Therein lies the sheer conflictedness of this chapter, in that this emotional catharsis, this arc payoff, is intrinsically tied with Oda bringing a character that was killed on screen so long ago back to life and saying, "Oh, they're alive again," and it's just, oof. I've always hated when Oda did that. When he did it with Pell, when he did it with oh my god, Lola and Chiffon, their father. You know, like he does this like all the time. It's just so dumb and annoying and contrived. Like characters can die. It's fine. Characters can die. What is he gonna bring back next? Ace? Anyway, but I think I went into this week feeling very 50-50 about the chapter. On the one hand, the emotional payoff to Robin's arc throughout the whole series was just like absolutely beautiful and in peak fiction. And then on the other hand, it was, you know, like intrinsically tied to Oda doing a cheap writing gimmick that's just bad, sloppy writing. And I felt very, very conflicted. And I think as the week progressed, I purposely didn't watch Morge this week just because I knew how critical and like, you know, how critical and sharp and like sharply against it he would be. And that's like totally fine. Like I understand that, and I think it's completely valid. You know, I'm not like bashing Morge here. I'm just saying, like, in the week I had, it's been an absolute nightmare of a week. I don't really want to go into it here, but it's just been terrible. I didn't really want that negativity, you know. But then I watched Melon-T, and then I talked to my friends, and like in my One Piece group chat, and I realized like I'm coming around to it. I'm coming around to it. I think if we look at it from the perspective of that Oda is setting up something with Aokiji here, I think it's a lot more palpable. You know, I I think that Aokiji is being set up to be some sort of Snape-like figure from Harry Potter. You know, Snape from Harry Potter, like figure where, you know, he's acting villainous and doing all these things that seem villainous. Yet there's this secret, like maybe sword-based mission that he's on. This deep interest. I mean, he's infiltrating the weapon prides, and he's clearly not doing that. And like you know, very similar. Snape kills Dumbledore. He defeated Garp in the same way, and Garp has explicitly been said not to be dead, and he defeated him in the same way that he took down Saul. So I think they're trying to do an interesting parallel here, or I say they, but it's Oda. Oda is trying to do an interesting parallel here where he's showing like, hey, when Aokiji does that to people, it's not necessarily him killing them, and I think I think it is retroactive. I do. I think it is retroactive retconning. But I also think that there's, you know, enough good that came from this chapter for me to simply be like, okay, like, it's not a deal breaker, you know? It's just like, I just kind of like am coming more around to it. I still think it's a bit contrived. It is on a technical level incredibly contrived what they're doing with Saul. But from an emotional level and connected to these characters and the story level, and from what they might be trying to set up with Aokiji here, I'm coming around to it. I feel less explicitly like, oh, this is contrived, this is shit, than I did at the start of the week. Like, I feel a lot more warm to it, especially just because of what they did in this chapter was so beautiful and so emotionally resonant, not just for like all readers, but for me specifically, when Nico Robin is a character that means so fucking much to me, you know. I just have to give Oda credit for that, you know. I mean, I never related and connected to a character like I have with Robin, you know. So it's maybe Simon from I always say Simon from Gurren Lagann is close, but like I think Robin still tops it, you know. So it's there's just something so special there that I can't really let, you know, my technical writer brain try to bog it down. You know, I gotta kind of just ride the emotion and be like, you know, Oda crafted something that almost no other series, no other writer is able to do here. You know, he did something so incredibly powerful that I just have to, like, you know, I have to let myself bask in that, you know, and be appreciative of that, and just, be grateful to Oda for that. There, despite, on a technical writing level, there being a lot of issue here. So I'm leaning more toward that direction. I'm not saying that people that are upset by this chapter are any less wrong or anything like that, like, because it definitely bad writing. It is definitely sloppy writing, in the sense of, Saul being alive. It is an Odaism. That's what it is. I'm sorry, my throat's so fucking dry. It's like, stop me for talking, so I'm gonna need to take a few more sips probably. There's some mucus coming up. Oh, sorry. Ugh. My throat's like a mess right now. Anyway, yeah, so I think what I'm trying to say here is we got the reveal that Saul was alive a while ago, back in early Egghead, I believe. And if I'd say, okay, that, I kind of compartmentalize and be like, okay, that reveal was then, this is just focused on the emotional payoff, this is one of the best chapters in the whole series. If I just divorce that, place those feelings about Saul being alive to then it feels that way. But the real, I think that like, it's just bringing up these fresh feelings because we're finally seeing Saul in person. But the reunion was so fucking cute, and then it turns from cute to emotional. God, it was so powerful, and that power is really what's making me come around to it. So if I'd say like, hey, I know these like emotions about Saul being back and opinions about Saul being back are rising up again, but hey, separate that, take that out, put it back to when they first revealed it, and just focus on the emotional catharsis of Robin finishing her arc here. I think that's what really focused on. And the fact that Luffy, everyone was crying, it was beautiful. And the fact that Luffy was like, I want to be there to like, anyone who helped my crew or anyone who's was supportive or saved members of my crew, I have to be there to thank them and greet them. It just shows Luffy's emotional like growth as a captain. Like, I know he would have done that, like, but it just shows like the found family of the Straw Hats and how like close and connected they are. Oh my god, I'm trying not to cry this whole review. It's just so beautiful, and this is, One Piece is my favorite story. I just gotta remember that, and there's flaws, there's issues, but this is nowhere near, like, just reminding myself, this is nowhere near something that's going to make me fall out of love with One Piece, like a lot of people are saying, like Saul being alive, and I know it was probably just, to help build this emotional moment, and they're probably going to kill him off for real in this Elbaf arc, I would say, but, just linger in it now, and yeah, I would wrap it up here, but one quick thing I did want to say is that it's interesting how they're setting up Elbaf as a society to where, the way they're treating Roto, like, Roto is bad, but, like, it's really weird how they're treating Roto and how it's, like, a road, I don't remember the name, but, like, it is a little off. I don't know if anyone else sees this. It is a little off. It's almost like everyone like has this huge smile on their face, and it's so too good to be true energy, especially when they were like the thing last week, don't linger in Elbaf too long. And the guy walking with Solo walking with the weird statue. There's definitely something off here, and I think people are starting to notice it. Like Mel and T mentioned it. A few other videos I watched mentioned it. There's something seriously off here, and I think like it's not a utopia by any means, and they're definitely going to address that. So it's interesting. But just focus on the main emotional catharsis. It was such a conflicting chapter, but I'm leaning more toward being like loving it and embracing that love and my love for Robin's character and my love for the series, rather than lingering so hard on the Saul writing contrivance. I'm leaning toward that way. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this chapter. I'm sorry it took so long to get them out. I was just really trying to brew on them and think about them, and the tragedy struck my family this week, and it was a very hard week, so I really didn't have time to work on any new video content or anything, so I figured I'd wait and let it brew and then kind of just gush my thoughts out here. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching.